Today we'll be answering a simple question. If we took all the NPC trainers from Pokémon Crystal and had them battle it out in a giant tournament, using their parties and AI routines from the original game, who would be crowned the strongest of all, and who would fall to a crushing defeat? Yes, the people have asked for it, and at long last the time has finally come for my second generation Pokémon AI tournament. Welcome to what is now the third entry in this series, scientifically ranking the Pokémon Crystal trainers. There's gonna be a lot to cover in this video, so as always, if some parts don't interest you, feel free to skip around using the convenient timestamps in the description. Speaking of which, before we have all these AI trainers fight each other, I feel it's prudent to explain how the AI actually works in meticulous detail. This creates a bit of a problem from, a video storytelling perspective. See, in the original Gen 1 video, because the AI in Gen 1 was so simple, I was able to explain it all in under 2 minutes. It was this fast-paced, sort of deliberately overwhelming pan and color pastiche, but I think I was able to describe it all succinctly. In Gen 2, the AI is pretty similar to Gen 1. Each turn, the AI assigns a priority value to each of the up to 4 moves its Pokemon can use, then applies different rules that affect these priority values before finally choosing randomly between the moves with the highest priority. Each trainer class is coded to use one or more of a selection of high-level AI routines. It's the varied combination of these routines that differentiates the playstyles and skill levels of the trainers you fight throughout the game. In the first generation games, there were basically 3 distinct AI routines to choose from, which broke down into roughly 7 individual rules. In Gen 2, there are 10 distinct routines, which break down into almost 100 rules in total, and that's just for selecting a move to use. Now, you might think it unwise to front-load a YouTube video that's supposed to be catchy and algorithm-pleasing with a long-winded technical explanation of all 90-odd AI subroutines. The first routine is called Basic. Almost all trainers use this routine, and it includes 2 rules. It discourages status-only moves if the opponent already has a status, and it discourages other sorts of redundant moves if they're already in effect, things like Weather and Safeguard. The second is Setup. It encourages stat-modifying moves on the first turn a Pokemon on either side is in battle, and discourages them otherwise. Third, Types. This routine dismisses moves the opponent is immune to, discourages moves that are not very effective if there's an alternative available, and encourages super effective moves. You might recall that the similar routine in the Gen 1 games was rather poorly implemented, leading to situations where, for example, trainers will spam poison moves against a Bulbasaur since poison beats grass, which then does nothing because poison-type Pokemon can't be poisoned. In Gen 2, this AI routine calls the same type matchup checking method that's called by the battle engine, so these sorts of issues won't occur. Fourth, Offensive. This routine discourages everything except for damaging moves. Fifth, Opportunist. This routine discourages certain stall moves, like Bide, Leer, Swords Dance, when their health is low. Sixth, Aggressive. This one looks at all the damaging moves available, finds the one with the highest base power, and discourages all the others. Seventh, Cautious. Like Opportunist, this routine has a hard-coded list of certain moves that have residual effects, things like Leech Seed and Substitute, and discourages these moves after the first turn. Eighth, Status. This will dismiss status moves that the opponent is immune to, like Poison against a Poison type. Ninth, Risky. This is an interesting one. It actually runs the damage calculation for each move and encourages any moves that would KO the opponent, with a hard-coded exception for Self-Destruct and Explosion. Lastly, number 10, Smart. You might think we're almost done having arrived at the last AI routine, but Smart trainers actually have a list of around 70 unique sub-rules, which encourage and discourage specific moves based on the state of the battle. You made it this far, buckle in for the lightning round. Smart trainers will try to induce sleep if they also have Dream Eater or Nightmare. They will try to set up Leech Seed if it's super effective and they're not full on health. They will try to avoid using Lock-On when they're low on health, but encourage it if their accuracy is lowered. They will try to use moves with low accuracy after using Lock-On. They will avoid using Self-Destruct with their last Pokemon, or if they have more than 25% of their health. They will use Dream Eater if their opponent's asleep. They will try to raise their evasion or lower their opponent's accuracy if they have plenty of health, if their opponent is afflicted by things like Toxic or Leech Seed, or if their opponent is using Fury Cutter or Rollout. They will use moves that always hit, like Swift, if their accuracy has been lowered or their opponent's evasion has been raised. They will only use Mirror Move if their opponent has used a useful move last turn. They will use Haze to reset stats if their stats have been lowered or their opponent's stats have been raised. They will avoid using Bide unless they're at max HP. They will avoid using Whirlwind or Roar unless they've seen their opponent use a super effective move. They will try to use healing moves when low on HP and avoid healing moves when they're higher in HP. They will avoid inflicting poison if their opponent is already low on HP. They will avoid using Reflect or Light Screen unless their HP is full. They will avoid using one-hit KO moves if their opponent is a higher level than them or already at low HP. They will try to use moves like Bind or Fire Spin if their opponent is badly poisoned, infatuated, stuck in rollout, identified by Foresight, or having a nightmare. They will avoid Razor Wind if they're about to die from Perish Song, if they've seen their opponent use Protect, if they're confused, or if they're low on health. They will avoid inflicting confusion if their opponent is already low on health. They will try to use Amnesia when their opponent has a special type, but avoid it if they're already low in health or at +4 special defense. They will try to use Fly or Dig if their opponent has already used one of them and has a lower speed. They will avoid Super Fang if their opponent is low on health. They will avoid inflicting Paralysis if their opponent is low on health, but encourage it if their opponent is faster. They will try to use Icy Wind if they're not low on health, it's their opponent's first turn, and their opponent is faster than them. They will avoid using Substitute if they're below half health. They will prefer to use Hyper Beam when they're low on health. They will try to keep using Rage if they've already started, but otherwise avoid it if they're below half health. They will avoid using Mimic if their opponent didn't use a move last turn, or if they're faster than their opponent. They will discourage Counter if they haven't seen their opponent use a damaging physical move, but encourage it if they've seen at least 3 such moves, or if the last move they've seen is such a move. They will avoid using Encore if they're slower than their opponent, or if their opponent hasn't used a move, but encourage it if their opponent has used a move that is not very effective, or is on a list of weak moves. They will avoid using Pain Split unless their opponent has more than double their current health. They will use Snore and Sleep Talk if they're asleep, and avoid them otherwise. They will try to use Spite if their opponent's most recent move has less than 6 PP, but avoid it if it has more than 15. They will avoid Destiny Bond, Reversal, and Skull Bash if they're above 25% health. They will avoid using Heal Bell unless they're status, in which case they'll prefer to use it. They will try to use priority hit moves if they'll KO their opponent, but avoid using them if their opponent is flying or underground. They'll avoid using Thief altogether. They will avoid using Conversion 2 if their opponent has used a move. This one's actually a bug. It should be the opposite, of course, avoiding it if their opponent hasn't used a move. They will try to use Disable if they outspeed their opponent, and their opponent just used a useful move. They'll avoid Mean Look if they're not low on health, or their opponent is on their last Pokemon. Otherwise, they'll encourage it if their opponent is stuck in Infatuation, Rollout, Identified, or in a Nightmare, or if they themselves are badly poisoned. This one's another bug. It should of course be checking their opponent's status. Speaking of Nightmare, they will also try to use Nightmare if their opponent is asleep. They will try to use Flame Wheel if they are frozen. They will Curse. Right, okay, this one's complicated. So, if they're not a Ghost type, they'll still avoid Curse if they're below half health, or if their stats are already too high, or if their opponent is a Ghost type. Otherwise, so long as their opponent has at least one physical type, they will encourage it. But if they are a Ghost type, they'll avoid Curse if their opponent is already cursed, or if they're on their last Pokemon and their opponent isn't, but if it's the opposite, they'll encourage it, and if it's neither, then and only then do they check their own health, avoiding Curse if they're below half, and otherwise encouraging it if they're at full health and their opponent hasn't yet taken a turn. They'll also avoid Protect if they've already used it or their opponent has used Lock On, but prefer to use it if their opponent has a boosted Fury Cutter or Rollout, has charged a move like Solar Beam, or is afflicted by things like Toxic. They'll also try to use Foresight if their accuracy is sharply lowered, their opponent's evasion is sharply raised, or their opponent is a Ghost type, otherwise avoiding it. They will avoid using Perish Song if they're on their last Pokemon, but encourage it if their opponent is trapped. They will prefer to use Sandstorm unless their opponent is immune or below half health, in which case they'll prefer not to use it. They will avoid using Endure if they've already used Protect, or if they're not low on HP, but prefer to use it if they also know Reversal, or if their opponent is locked on. They will prefer to use Fury Cutter more, the more times they've used it in a row. They will avoid using Fury Cutter or Rollout if they're infatuated, confused, or paralyzed, if their HP is low, if their accuracy has been lowered, or if their opponent's evasion has been raised. Otherwise, they'll prefer to use them. They will try to use Swagger and Attract on their opponent's first turn out, and avoid them otherwise. They will avoid Safeguard if their opponent's HP is low. They will try to use Magnitude and Earthquake if their opponent just used Dig, and they're faster. They will avoid using Baton Pass if they haven't seen a super effective move yet. They will try to use Pursuit when their opponent is low in health. They will try to use Rapid Spin if they're trapped in a bind, hit by Leech Seed, or have spikes. They will actually figure out the power and type of their hidden power and only use it if it's good. They will try to use Rain Dance or Sunny Day if their opponent's type favors them doing so, their opponent still has health, and it's a Pokemon's first turn, but discourage it if they don't know a move that benefits from it. They will avoid using Belly Drum if their attack is already raised or their HP is too low. They will avoid using Psych Up if their net stat changes are higher than or equal to their opponent's. Otherwise, they'll encourage it so long as their evasion hasn't been raised and their opponent's accuracy hasn't been lowered. They'll use Mirror Coat with the same logic as Counter, swapping physical for special. They will try to use Twister and Gust if their opponent has used Fly and they're faster. They will try to use Future Sight if their opponent is flying or underground and they're faster. They will try to use Stomp if their opponent has used Minimize. They will try to use Solar Beam when it's sunny and avoid it when it's raining. And lastly, they will try to avoid Thunder when it's sunny. Whew! Okay, that was a lot, but that covers pretty much everything the AI does when trying to decide what move to use. The only other things the AI can do aside from that are use items and switch out. This video is already going to be long enough, so hopefully you'll forgive me if I spare you the detailed explanation here. Suffice it to say, the AI will try to intelligently switch out based on the type of moves they've seen from their opponent, and they'll try to use healing items to keep their strongest Pokemon alive. Okay, let's move on. So, that's how the AI works, but how do we pit these trainers against each other? Well, if you watch my Gen 1 video, the system should feel pretty familiar. We run the battle in an emulator. Take a save state whenever we need to make a decision, swap the memory values for the player and the enemy, then load the save state in a separate emulator to see what action the AI would take in that situation. Indeed, perhaps unsurprisingly, the Gen 2 games are coded pretty similarly to the Gen 1 games, so I was able to reuse a lot of the same techniques from the first time around. However, that doesn't mean it was easy. See, like, with the Gen 1 video, I kinda glossed over a lot of details when I said, swap the data for the player and the enemy. That's really where most of the complexity for this project lies, figuring out what memory values the AI cares about and how to swap them between the player and enemy. The long diatribe about how the AI works wasn't a mere intellectual curiosity. Understanding the AI is essential for this project to work. It's thanks to the efforts of the people on the Pokémon Red and Pokémon Crystal disassembly projects that this sort of analysis is even possible. I feel like I didn't really give enough credit to these teams in my last two videos, but they deserve it. Video game disassemblies and decompilations are monumental efforts that I feel often don't get enough appreciation. To that end, let's talk briefly about what a disassembly project actually is. Again, timestamps in the description if this is nothing new for you. So, you write a computer program, like a game, in a high-level programming language like C. That code is compiled to a lower-level language that we call assembly, and that assembly is then assembled into machine code, the raw ones and zeros that a CPU actually reads and executes. These ones and zeros are all that we as consumers get when we extract a ROM image from a cartridge or a disk image from a disk. But assembly is pretty close to machine code. In fact, you can take machine code and parse it directly into assembly completely automatically. Any emulator with a debugger can do that for you. And on top of that, old games like the Game Boy Pokemon games were usually written directly in assembly rather than using a higher level language. So, does that mean you can just take your Pokémon Crystal cartridge, slap it through a disassembler, and get the original code back? Well, the result is something that's probably close to the original code. It's got all the same instructions, but look at this example. If you happen to know Game Boy assembly, you can read this pretty easily. We're loading some memory values into the A and B registers, comparing them, and then based off that result, either jumping to this memory address or calling this one, and then based off the result of that call, we might do something to the address pointed to by the HL register. So that's all well and good, but it's completely meaningless without knowing what any of these memory addresses represent. So that's where the arduous task of the disassembly project comes in. They just have to go through the entire game's code and figure out what data is stored in each memory address. From there, they can rewrite this subroutine, but this time with labels. Turns out, this was the one-hit KO move logic that we were looking at earlier. The two memory addresses we're loading into registers and comparing are the levels of the player and enemy Pokemon. The routine we're jumping to is the one that discourages moves, and the routine we're calling checks if the player is below half health. And if that wasn't enough, they also add a helpful comment explaining exactly what the method does. Disassemblies like this one end up being valuable resources for anyone trying to mod a game, or, like me, simply understand its behavior well enough to automate it. Okay, so thanks to the disassembly, we have all the documentation we need to learn what memory addresses the AI cares about. But, as nicely laid out as the disassembly is, there isn't necessarily going to be a place in the code where it says, here's the memory addresses for the player, and here's the memory addresses for the enemy. Actually, there is, but it only covers some of them. In order for this project to work, I need to make sure I've covered every meaningful memory address the AI routines might use. That includes those that have nice parallels, like the struct for the player's current Pokémon and the AI's current Pokémon, as well as those that apply to the battle as a whole, like the current weather conditions. There are also a handful of values that don't have a parallel for the other side, like this memory address, which keeps track of which moves the AI has seen the player use. There's no equivalent address for the moves the player has seen the AI use, so for things like that, I'll need to come up with a good enough approximation in my code. There's a lot to keep track of, and especially with all the new mechanics introduced in the Gen 2 games, there's a lot of room for things to go wrong. For example, there weren't any trainers with Ditto in Gen 1, but there are in Gen 2. What happens when they use Transform? What does that even look like in memory? Or, say, switching. I've implemented the logic for checking if the AI wants to switch and what Pokemon they want to switch to, but what if they switch using Baton Pass? Does that look the same? What about Sketch? What about Struggle? So on and so forth. As it turns out, my code actually handled all these things pretty gracefully, but of course, those were the edge cases that I thought of. The real problematic scenarios are the edge cases I didn't think of. Take Cal, for instance. Cal is a trainer who only appears in the game if you reach the trainer house in Kanto without receiving any mystery gift data. There are 3 versions of Cal in the game's data, but only one you actually fight. As it turns out, the middle Cal is a placeholder for that mystery gift data. If you try to fight this version of Cal, the game will try to load that garbage data, resulting in this lovely outcome. Or, take this weird scenario, where Red is able to use a max potion, when in actuality he should have 2 full restores. That was making my code very unhappy. It took me a while to figure this one out, but it turns out this is actually arguably a bug in the original game. If a trainer has 2 items, and they've used up the first one already, the subroutine that checks each item to see if it should be used will actually start reading past the end of the list. The memory value after the item list is the amount of money that the current opponent gives after the battle. This memory address has 12 possible values depending on the trainer class, but most of them are garbage. They don't correspond to items the AI can use, so it doesn't try to use them. 2 of them, however, do correspond to items, but normally any trainers who have these values don't have items. But, in my case, to run these battles, I'm injecting into the first rival battle, and as it turns out, that version of the rival has a reward value that happens to correspond to a max potion. So, it's a bug in the game's logic that normally never triggers, but because I'm mucking about with memory values, it crops up. How on earth can I anticipate things like that? Now, both of these issues I was able to catch because they actually caused my code to crash. But how about subtler issues that don't cause a crash, but instead just cause the AI to do the wrong thing? There are several orders of magnitude too many battles for me to review them individually, so the best I can hope to do is manually review a random sample, or look at the overall battle statistics and see if there are any anomalies that stick out. This all finally came to a head when I was looking at the distribution of moves used in battle. Snore is never used at any point in the tournament, despite Red's Snorlax knowing it. I just kept staring at this battle screen and combing through the code line by line, trying to fathom why he wouldn't use Snore. It's the perfect setup. There has to be a bug in my code. Why, indeed, wouldn't the AI use Snore, a normal type move, against a Gengar? Ultimately, at some point, I have to concede and just accept that there's gonna be some bugs left in my code, that it's not gonna be a perfect representation of the in-game AI, and that's okay. As long as we can all accept that it's close enough, that's good enough for me. Now, it's time to run the tournament. In the original Gen 1 tournament, I ran it as a round robin, and there ended up being about 87,000 total battles. For the Gen 1 Redux tournament, I did a double round robin, resulting in over 150,000 battles. For the Gen 2 tournament, not only am I doing a double round robin again, so each trainer will battle on both the player and enemy sides, there are also significantly more trainers in the Gen 2 games, ultimately necessitating over 290,000 individual battles. I'm gonna have to think carefully about how to efficiently run all of these battles. The first order of business is going to be tidying up my code and its output. I know, so exciting. The code for the Gen 1 tournament was pretty much a giant mess, with everything splooged out into one giant file. For the Gen 2 tournament, I've reorganized my code into discrete files, and I even made some classes. I also spent more time than I should have making the console output look pretty, even though almost no one will see that except for me. As for the results of the battles, in Gen 1 I stored everything in giant JSON files. But a text format like JSON contains a lot of redundant data, and managing hundreds of thousands of tiny little files isn't very efficient. This time around, I stored all the battle results in an efficient binary format, using protocol buffers to define a schema, and saving results in batches of 10,000 to reduce the overall number of individual files. In the end, the complete battle logs for all 300,000 battles takes up just under 22 megabytes of space. Of course, making the code cleaner and the output smaller isn't going to do anything to actually make the tournament run faster. The architecture is pretty much identical to Gen 1, with a Python script writing save states to disk and calling BGB with breakpoints as arguments, which makes all the bottlenecks I talked about in the Redux video still apply. Namely, that it doesn't really scale well across multiple cores on the same computer. In the Redux video, I solved that problem with distributed computing, a command server to issue out jobs, and a client running on a few different computers to carry them out. I spent, again, more time than I should have figuring out what would be the fastest and cheapest way to run the entire tournament. And ultimately what I decided on was to simply rent out as many of the cheapest DigitalOcean servers as they would allow me to. With 25 of these teeny tiny servers running in parallel, each with just one CPU core, plus a few threads on my two desktops, the entire tournament took just a few days to run and cost me just over $15. I'd consider that a roaring success. With all of that out of the way, finally we're ready to look at the results of the tournament. If you watch the Gen 1 videos, some of the information on these trainer cards should look familiar, but some of it is a bit different. Like before, we'll be calculating an ELO score for each trainer. Again, consult the first two videos in this series for more information on how ELO is calculated and pronounced. That will be the number that we sort by and use to determine tiers from. But you might notice that each trainer now has a win-loss ratio, whereas in Gen 1, we had a win-loss-draw three-way ratio. In Gen 2, enemy trainers finally have PP, and will use struggle if they run out, so it's a lot harder to have endless battles as compared to Gen 1. Of course, struggle does a lot less damage in the Gen 2 games as compared to the newer ones, so it is possible for a Pokemon to end up healing all of the damage it takes from struggle with leftovers, leading to a truly endless battle. But thankfully, there are no enemy trainers with leftovers in Gen 2, so this doesn't happen. Aside from that, compared to Gen 1, trainers in Gen 2 have a lot more things to set them apart from one another. For one thing, most of them now have names instead of just a class and a number, but there are still some duplicates, like trainers you rematch or all 20-odd rocket grunts, so some trainers will still be known partly by a number. Trainers can also have up to 2 battle items, Pokemon with unique movesets, levels, and held items, unique DV allocations, and, as we discussed during the lecture at the start of the video, different AI routines. Finally, like in the Redux video, the greatest upsets will have their unique IDs attached. So, if you want to watch these particular battles in full, you can check the link in the description for instructions on how to do that. Let's get started. Our grand ranking of trainers begins all the way down in F tier, with Bug Catcher Don, who with his 2 level 3 Caterpie, after winning only a single match that wasn't against himself, managed to secure an impressively low final score of negative 138 ELO. In case you're wondering, there's nothing meaningful about an ELO being negative. The ELO scale is all about differences between scores, and the center of the scale, which in this case is the rather standard 1500, is a completely arbitrary decision. Right after Bugcatcher Don, however, we find the star of today's show. With an impressive negative 121 ELO and a commanding 2 victories to his name, leading his mighty level 4 Rattata into battle, it's the one you've all been waiting for, the crowd favorite, Youngster Joey! With a base DV total of 33, Joey's Rattata is truly in the top percentage, and while it seems unlikely that this remarkable performance could ever be topped, I have a feeling that this isn't the last we're going to see of Youngster Joey. Next, we get to the first battle of the game, against rival Huh? Like in Gen 1, of course, the rivals team will vary based off which starter you choose, but unlike Gen 1, The only difference between these three rival teams is going to be that starter Pokemon. The rest of whose team is always the same, regardless of who you pick. Anyway, this time around, the Chikorita rival just barely pulls out ahead, while the Totodile rival remains behind back in F tier. Near the start of D tier, we find Fisher Justin, whose team consists of 4 Magikarp. 3 of them are level 5, only knowing Splash, but 1 is level 15, just high enough to know Tackle. Thanks to this, Justin was able to win over 30 battles in the tournament, even against some high-ranked foes. We'll see more of him later. Right after Justin, we find Bug Catcher Wade number 2, the first rematch of the tournament. As you might recall in Gen 2, many trainers will offer to fight a rematch battle with you, in which they'll have an improved party of Pokemon. In this case, Wade's Caterpie and Weedle have evolved into Metapod and Kakuna, while also gaining an average of 7 levels, earning Wade 7 spots in the ranking. Moving along in D tier, we find our first instance of the Twins class, with twins Amy and May. Gen 2 of course didn't have double battles, so the way twins are implemented is that each set of twins has 2 distinct parties in the game's data, with the order of their Pokemon swapped. The party the game loads depends on which twin you talk to start the battle. In Amy and May's case, leading with the Spinarak worked out slightly better. The Twins class is also notable for being the only trainer class with no AI as their AI routine, and for using the switch often switch style. In D+ tier, we find beauties Teresa, Jacqueline, Kendra, Rachel, Angelica, Veronica, Jessica, Carlene, and Julie. These 9 trainers all exist in the game's code, but, like we saw many times in Gen 1, go completely unused in the actual game. They also all have identical parties, consisting of a single level 15 Sentret. It's a good sign for the soundness of our ranking system that they all rank right next to each other like this. Rounding out D+ tier, we finally find the first gym leader, Faulkner, with his level 8 Pidgey and Pidgeotto. This is perhaps a little later in the ranking than we might expect considering the number of trainers and gym leaders in Gen 2. This will be a common trend in the chart, with major characters like gym leaders and the like being significantly stronger than the fodder trainers around them. Speaking of fodder, here's a trainer who's anything but. Yes, I know you've been shaking with anticipation, but the time has finally come for the triumphant return of youngster Joey. This time around, he comes out swinging, with his top percentage Rattata now powered up to a formidable level 15. Thanks to this new power he's able to unleash, he finds himself boldly leading the charge into C tier, and even taking down such daunting opponents as Picnic or Hope from Kanto with her level 34 Flaffy. Moving along in C tier, we find Fisher Raymond, who, like his compatriot Justin from D- tier, has a party consisting of 4 Magikarp. Unlike Justin, however, Raymond's Magikarp all know Tackle, securing him a much higher spot in the ranking. Interestingly though, Raymond's biggest upset was against the same trainer as Justin, Hiker Tim. We'll get back to Tim. Okay, so C tier has a bit of a lull in terms of interesting trainers. There really is a lot of fodder in Gen 2, but that lull doesn't last for long. That's right, you might have thought you saw the last of him, but he's back with a vengeance! Once again, I am proud to present youngster Joey! And this time around, he's not taking prisoners. For his 3rd rematch, Joey is in this to win this. His strategy is twofold. First, his Rattata. Don't get me wrong, top percentage of all Rattata. Hard to beat that. But you know what could make it even better? That's right, not only has it been turbocharged to level 21, Joey has let it evolve into a fearsome Raticate. But that's not all. So, in Gen 2, like Gen 1, most trainers' Pokemon's movesets are based entirely off what moves a wild Pokemon would know at that level. Some trainers, though, will have specific movesets for their team hard-coded into the game, and Joey, he's not playing around. See, normally, a level 21 Raticate would know Tail Whip, Quick Attack, Hyper Fang, and Scary Face, but Joey has taken the bold move of teaching his top percentage Raticate Tail Whip, Quick Attack, Hyper Fang, and believe it or not, Scary Face. Truly, we may never hope to understand the depths of Joey's tactical genius. Anyway, moving along, finally kicking off C+ tier, is the second gym leader from Johto, Bugsy. Now, we're over a quarter of the way through the ranking, but we've only seen 2 out of the 16 gym leaders, and that's definitely a pattern that's not only going to hold, but actually get more pronounced as we go farther down the list. There really are just a lot of weak trainers in Gen 2. But actually, if you compare it to Gen 1, Misty was a lot worse, ranking almost halfway up the chart, despite only being the second of 8 gym leaders. In the middle of C+ tier, we find the second rival fight. As it turns out, the one you fight right after Bugsy in Azalea Town. The rivals added a Ghastly and Zubat to his party, along with the second stage of his starter. They're a bit more spread out this time, with Quilava coming in last and Bayleaf maintaining its lead, but their Elo spread isn't actually far apart. Remember, an Elo difference of 42, like we see between Quilava and Bayleaf rivals, translates to about a 56% win rate for the favored trainer. Definitely a meaningful advantage, but not a dramatic one. Also here in the middle of C+ tier, we start to see some of the first post-game trainers, including Pokefan Colin from the SS Aqua and Picnicker Hope from Kanto Route 4. You actually don't get to Route 4 until pretty late in the game in a typical playthrough, but as anyone who's played Gen 2 can tell you, the level scaling for Kanto trainers is pretty out of whack, so it's not that unusual to see such a late-game trainer so relatively low in the ranking. Moving along, we find Swimmer George, the first trainer we've come across with a full team of 6 Pokemon, 4 Tentacool, a Staryu, and a Remoraid. Compared to Gen 1, where there were only 3 fights against full teams of 6, Gen 2 has a total of 9. Anyway, in George's case, having a full party is definitely an advantage, but its lack of diversity is definitely a hindrance. Basically, all of his Pokemon have terrible moves, and his AI falls into the same dumb traps for all of them, allowing him to lose battles like this one against Fisher Tully with a single Quillfish. Swinging hard into B- tier. I don't know how he keeps doing it, but our boy, nay, our man, youngster Joey, has outdone himself once again. This time, not only is his top percentage Raticate a staggering level 30, its custom moveset is actually custom, swapping out the scary face that a level 30 Raticate would normally know for good old trusty Tail Whip. It's a move that's served Joey well so far. Easy to see why he's holding on to it, and with that, he is able to take down such elite opponents as Schoolboy Tommy. All I can say is wow. Moving right along though, we get to another infamous trainer from Gen 2, the third gym leader, Whitney, armed with her trusty Miltank, knowing Whitney's signature move, Rollout. Her Miltank also knows Attract, Stomp, and Milk Drink, and thanks to Whitney's smart AI, she's actually able to use these moves somewhat effectively, earning herself a solid spot in B-, while other trainers with similarly small and low-leveled parties find themselves in C+ or even C. At the top of B+, there are 2 more trainers with interesting team compositions, Rocket Grunt number 5 and Pokefan Joshua, who have teams consisting of 5 Rattata and 6 Pikachu respectively. Not much more to say here, I just think it's neat. And now we get to Picnicker Tiffany number 4, whose single Clefairy has a kind of interesting moveset. Metronome, Encore, Moonlight, and Minimize. You'll notice that none of these moves actually do damage, except for sometimes Metronome, but with Moonlight, which heals, and Minimize, which raises evasion, she's got decent stalling power. Now, sometimes it pays off, like in this battle against the A-rank Cool Trainer Carol, one of the strongest trainers in the game. Thanks to Minimize, she avoids the damage from self-destruct, goes back and forth with the Starmie before eventually slaying it with a lucky Thrash. Then against the Ninetales, she finally runs out of PP, but manages to take it down with struggle. Sometimes though, she gets battles like this one, against the D-ranked twins Amy and May. The Spinarak she's able to finish off no problem with the lucky Powder Snow, but the Ladybug proves a bit more troublesome. First, Ladybug gets off an early Supersonic, leaving Clefairy confused for the rest of the battle. A while later, she finally tries Metronome, and she gets Bone Rush. Oof, no good against the flying-type Ladybug. A bit later, another Metronome, this time it's Belly Drum. She cuts her health in half in exchange for raising her attack to the max. Of course, no problem that she cut her HP, she can always use Moonlight to heal. Ooh, and there we go, this'll be the decisive Metronome. It's Zap Cannon, and it's a miss. Another Metronome, and it's a very strategic Pain Split from the level 43 Clefairy. She gets off a few more completely ineffective Metronomes before finally running out of PP. Okay, struggle, that's at least gotta do damage. And oof, that'll be Belly Drum boosted Confusion damage once, and twice. Anyway, all that to say, with that victory and defeat under her belt, Picnicker Tiffany has earned the honor of having the third largest ELO spread between her greatest upset and most crushing defeat. Not too surprising with a party like that. Speaking of big spreads, it's not long before we reach Pokefan Robert. With his lone level 33 Quagsire, on the one hand he's able to beat A- trainers like Schoolboy Danny here, but then on the other hand he's managed to lose to the D- rank Sage Nico, whose team consists of 3 level 3 Bellsprout. Both of these battles just go to show that regardless of how one does in the overall ranking, the result of any one battle can ultimately just come down to a lucky or unlucky type matchup. Thanks to these two battles, Roberts earned the honor of having the largest ELO spread between his upset victory and defeat. Okay, bit of a stretch without any interesting trainers there, but here's one who's at least an intellectual curiosity. So you remember before how I mentioned that there's 2 instances of each twins trainer, and the one you fight depends on which character you talk to first? Well, Leia and Pia here are the one exception. Perhaps due to an oversight, the Leia and Pia we passed a ways back are the only ones you actually fight in the game. This alternate team goes unused. Unless you think otherwise, their 2 Dratini are not identical. One knows Ice Beam and the other Flamethrower. So why did this unused team play so much better than the used one? Well, aside from swapping the order of the Dratini, it also raised them from level 35 to level 38. Whoopsie! Anyway, finally, near the top of B rank, we find the third rival fight, from Ekritique City. This time the Quilava rivals pull ahead to take the lead, although again, an ELO spread of less than 20 points translates to not even a 53% expected win rate for the favorite trainer. A close race indeed for these rivals. Moving into B+, we get the long hyped up Hiker Tim. Now, Tim's got a pretty straightforward strategy going for him. He's got 3 Graveler that all know self-destruct. Basically, if he has more Pokemon than the enemy trainer, like against Birdkeeper Vance here from A- rank, then he wins. If he doesn't, like against our good friend Fisher Justin from D rank, then he doesn't. Indeed, aside from being responsible for losing in the biggest upset of the tournament against Fisher Justin, as we've seen, Tim here is the losing party in 9 other trainers' greatest victories. And at last, with a remarkable showing squarely in the middle of B+ tier, the time has come for youngster Joey's last stand. For his 5th and final battle, youngster Joey managed to raise his Raticate all the way to level 37, while also teaching it Hyper Beam. You can see how the ferocious power of this top percentage Raticate is able to tear through the team of the A- rank Schoolboy Danny. A fitting send-off for the trainer who, while not the champion of this tournament, is certainly the champion in our hearts. Further along in B+, we arrive at the story character unique to Pokémon Crystal, Mystical Man Yucine. Now interestingly, despite being called Mystical Man, Yucine is actually unique for being the only human character in Pokémon Crystal to be canonically non-binary. You see, in the code for Pokémon Crystal is a table that lists, for each trainer class, whether members of that class are male or female. But this table is just one entry too short, and doesn't denote a gender for the Mystical Man class. Anyway, aside from being a trailblazing trans icon, Yucine is actually a decently strong trainer in their own right, at least compared to most of the fodder in Generation 2. You fight them relatively early in the game, in Cianwood City, the home of the 5th gym, and their team of 3 Pokemon averages less than level 24, but they managed to place this high in B+. Their Drowsy's Hypnosis into Dream Eater combo certainly seems to be an effective strategy anyway, and the rest of their team offers decent type coverage. Moving along, we find a trainer that you probably don't want to get caught in a battle with. Swimmer Nikki from Route 21 has a party consisting of Seal, and Dugong. Her first Seal knows Rest, her second Seal knows Rest, her third Seal knows Rest, and her Dugong, if you can believe it, knows Rest. Indeed, well, as mentioned before, there were no endless battles, as it turns out Nikki here was responsible for the 20th, 18th, 15th, 10th, 9th, 4th, 2nd, and number 1 longest battles in this tournament. and it shouldn't be any surprise to learn that the longest battle of the tournament was in fact between swimmer Nikki and herself, lasting for almost 400 turns and over an hour of real time. She's truly trying to channel Lorelei from the Gen 1 tournaments, but fortunately, unlike Lorelei, Nikki's PP is properly constrained. Anyway, not far from Nikki, we find Morty, the 4th gym leader. Like many Gen 2 gym leaders, he's made an impressive showing. He's got 4 Pokemon to his name, affording him the opportunity to spend some HP setting up Curse. Plus, he's got the frightening Hypnosis plus Dream Eater combo. But then not far from Morty is Chuck, the 5th gym leader. While he placed better than the other trainers around Cianwood City, I think it's fair to say the gap between Morty and Chuck was a bit disappointingly small. That's perhaps not too surprising, considering Chuck only has 2 Pokemon in his party. And while he is notable for being the first trainer in our ranking to have a usable item, it's only a full heal, rather than something that could actually restore HP. And lastly, here at the top of B+, we have the unused glitchy version of Cal I mentioned earlier. When he's working properly, he has level 30 versions of the second stage starters. Considering his good type coverage, good AI routines, and a DV total that rivals that of the rival, I might have expected this version of Cal to do slightly better in the rankings, but still not a bad showing. Now, kicking off A-, we have everyone's favorite underdog from the original tournament, the Karate Master from the Saffron City Fighting Dojo, now taking up residence in Mount Mortar. Not that the 2 tournaments are directly comparable, but you could say that puts him in a slightly better place than his B+ ranking from before. Still though, there's no Sabrina in sight. And now, the first discontinuity in the gym leader rankings. We've skipped right over Jasmine, the 6th gym leader, and arrived at Price, the 7th. Price here is the first trainer in our list to have a healing item, a single Hyper Potion. In the middle of A-, we find Juggler Horton, the slightly upgraded version of Hiker Tim from earlier. Whereas Tim appeared in 9 other trainers' greatest victories, Horton here appears in 10, the most of any trainer. He employs a very similar strategy to Tim, with a team consisting of an Electrode with Self-Destruct, an Electrode with Self-Destruct, an Electrode with Self-Destruct, and lastly, an Electrode with Self-Destruct. No further commentary is necessary here, I think. Finally, here we do find Jasmine, the missing 6th gym leader. Interestingly, going by Bulbapedia's walkthrough, the player fights Jasmine right after fighting Chuck, with no other trainers between them. Yet Jasmine has a substantial lead over Chuck of almost 300 points, corresponding to about an 80% expected win rate. Steel is certainly a strong type to specialize in. Now, as we make our way into A tier, the skill levels of the trainers we see is going to start increasing dramatically. There's going to be a lot of important trainers back-to-back starting now, with the 4th rival encounter. This time, it's the Quilava trailing the pack, with Meganium taking the lead. And no, that wasn't a mistake. Despite all 3 versions of the rival having the same level of Pokemon for this fight, the version of the rival if the player chose Chikorita uses a Quilava instead of a Typhlosion, whereas the other 2 do use their fully evolved starter. This nerf for the fire rival leads to him trailing by 75 points, a 60% win rate, which is a bigger spread than we've seen for the other rival encounters. Incidentally, we also just passed cool trainer Carol, who's arguably the strongest normal trainer in the game, since everyone from here on out is going to be a story character like a gym leader, a rematch fight, or an unused trainer. A tier doesn't last long though, and we now find ourselves in A+, starting with the 13th gym leader, by Bulbapedia's reckoning, Janine from Fuchsia, specializing in Poison-type Pokemon. Right after her comes Black Belt Kenji number 3, who's notable for being the highest ranked trainer to not use the SMART AI routines. You'll notice that most of the strong trainers have the same loadout of AI routines, featuring basic, setup, smart, aggressive, cautious, status, and risky. I appreciate the irony of including both cautious and risky, but you can't argue with results. Next up, everyone's favorite, Pewter City's own Brock, here classified as the 14th gym leader. Definitely a big improvement from his showing in Gen 1, finally bringing more than 2 Pokemon to the fight. And then right after Brock comes Erica, who we're counting as the 12th gym leader. Then finally for our ranking, we reach the 5th rival battle, this time all on an equal footing, with all 3 starters properly fully evolved. Typhlosion manages to get ahead of Feraligatr this time, with Meganium still in the lead, although as we'd expect, the spread between them has shrunk back down to a barely significant 34 points. Now, as we approach S tier and the top 16 competitors in this tournament, I feel I would be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to once again spice things up a bit at the end with another Sweet 16 tournament. Because sure, while it's hard to beat the mathematical purity of a round-robin tournament, it's also hard to beat the heartbreaking triumph that comes from an exhilarating single elimination bracket. So, just like in the Redux tournament from Gen 1, to close things out here, we'll be taking the top 16 competitors and using the results from the round-robin tournament to seed our Sweet 16 bracket. Of course, if you did watch the Redux video, you might remember the one shortcoming of that exciting nail-biting bracket was that 9 of the competitors were clones of the rival, and another 3 were clones of Professor Oak. It got a bit samey. So, just to keep things fresh, we'll be including just one set of rivals for this tournament. We'll remove the 3 rival fights from the 6th battle at Mount Moon. You can see them here with Meganium taking a narrow lead again, and since that pushes our top 16 back a bit, we'll also have to disqualify the Meganium rival from the 5th battle as well, the one we just looked at, meaning at last, our top 16 looks like this. Just barely making the 16 seed slot is Lieutenant Surge, the Vermilion City gym leader. Joining him are 5 other gym leaders from across Kanto and Johto, the entire Elite Four, including the champion Lance of course, with no weird stragglers like Lorelei. And of course, we've got the 7th and final rival battle, that's the optional battle at the Indigo Plateau. Lastly, rounding things out, we've got 2 surprise contenders this time around, with Cool Trainer Rena number 3, and our good friend Pokemon Trainer Cal number 3, this version being the one you can actually fight in the game. Okay, without further ado, let's get this tournament started! First up is the 1 seed Blue versus the 16 seed Lieutenant Surge. Surge has the type advantage over Blue's Pidgeot, of course, but the level difference between these two is just too great, and Blue takes out Surge's Raichu. Magneton finishes off the bird, but then falls to a devastating Solar Beam. Electrode stalls for a while with Double Team, and actually manages to whittle away most of Exeggutor's health twice, before getting hit with a lucky Egg Bomb. With its health low, Electrode uses Explosion, taking out Exeggutor with it. But then, well, Rhydon does what Rhydon will do, securing the victory for Blue. Next up, the 8-9 game, Will versus Cal. Cal's got the level advantage, but Will has the numbers advantage. Cal's Meganium easily takes out Will's Xatu, and just barely holds on against his Jinx. Cal tries to heal with Synthesis, but isn't able to out-heal Exeggutor. Typhlosion easily finishes it off before trading blows with Slowbro. Typhlosion ends up falling, but then Cal's Feraligatr finishes off the rest of Will's Pokemon with some super effective bites. Victory for Cal. Third, we've got the Meganium rival versus Blaine. Similar levels here, but the rival's got twice as many Pokemon to work with. The rival's Sneasel falls immediately, so he sends out Gengar, who ends up trading blows with Magcargo. Both end up low, but Gengar falls first. Down 2, the rival sends out the classic Alakazam, who finishes off Magcargo. Again, close blows trading back and forth between Alakazam and Magmar, but this time it's Magmar who ends up falling first. Blaine's on his last Pokemon, which he uses to finish off Alakazam, that sunny day he set up earlier paying dividends. But unfortunately, Rapidash is just not able to chip away enough damage from Crobat. And the rival secures his victory here. Fourth game, it's the Typhlosion rival, very familiar party there, against Cool Trainer Rena. Sneasel once again falls, but this time takes out a good chunk of his opponent's health. Magneton you'd think would do well against Starmie, but instead just ends up missing with Thunder a whole bunch. Unfortunately for Rena though, the rival follows it up with Crobat, who manages to sweep her entire team. Victory for the rival. Halfway through round 1, next up is Lance versus Claire. Claire's at a big level disadvantage here, and all 3 of her Dragonair fall to Hyper Beams from Lance's Gyarados. If Claire had better AI, she could have made better use of her electric moves here, But alas, Claire ends up on her last Pokemon, responding with a Hyper Beam of her own to take out the Gyarados. But Kingdra likewise quickly ends up falling, giving Lance the win. Moving right along, it's Misty versus Sabrina. Misty's Golduck ends up falling to Sabrina's Espeon, who her Starmie ends up finishing off. Mr. Mime chips away at its health, but likewise ends up falling to a barrage of Surfs. Which brings Sabrina to her last Pokemon, her flagship Alakazam, who quickly finishes off Starmie and Quagsire for good measure. Misty's last Pokemon, Lapras, ends up in the red, but manages to land the killing blow with Surf, earning her the victory. Penultimate game of round 1, it's the Feraligatr rival against Koga. Sneasel finally earns his keep, taking out Koga's Ariados after trading blows for a while, but isn't able to finish off the Venomoth, being hit by Confusion and Poison. Crobat, however, is. And just when it looks like Crobat is going to finish off Forretress, it survives with 1 HP, and Koga uses Explosion, taking out Crobat with it. It's Muck versus Alakazam now, which goes exactly how you'd expect. And likewise with Koga's own Crobat, not able to overcome Alakazam's type advantage. Victory for the rival. Lastly, Karen against Bruno. We got pretty evenly matched teams, with Karen's Umbreon and Bruno's Hitmontop trading blows for a while, but ultimately it's Hitmontop that falls first. Hitmonlee finishes off Umbreon, then we see some high-risk moves against the Vileplume, with Swagger and High Jump Kick. It does pay off though, and we see Karen's Gengar. We see some more spicy moves here. Gengar immediately uses Curse, cutting its HP in half. Hitmonlee meanwhile uses Foresight, and follows it up with another High Jump Kick. Gengar ends up low, but Hitmonlee falls first. Bruno sends out Onix, ready to finish Gengar off, who then immediately pulls out Destiny Bond. Truly, some spicy antics from the AI in this game, I gotta say. 2 Pokemon left on both sides, and we get 2 brand new Pokemon out on the field. Hitmonchan against Murkrow. Again, we see some very sensible plays from the AI here. 2 Ice Punches and a Mach Punch to finish it off. Karen sends out Houndoom, who ends up in the red and finishes off Hitmonchan. Bruno sends out Machamp, while Karen heals up, but it's not enough to beat the type advantage, and Bruno ends up winning this one. Okay, on to the second round. We got Blue versus Cal. This is a short one. Blue's Pidgeot finishes off Cal's Meganium, almost finishes off Typhlosion too, but Rhydon does that no problem. Cal sends out Feraligatr, and we end up seeing our first switch out of this tournament, with Blue swapping out Rhydon for Gyarados. Bit odd to do that right after using Sandstorm, but indeed, Gyarados is able to finish off Cal's last Pokemon with little issues. Victory Blue. Next up, fortunately this tournament was not almost entirely Dittos like last time, and we get the Meganium rival against the Typhlosion rival. The Fire rival actually spends his first turn switching out Sneasel for Crobat, who sets up Poison and Confusion, which does end up taking the Grass's Sneasel out. He sends in Magneton, which knocks out Crobat with Thunder, so the Typhlosion rival sends out his namesake. Easily takes out Magneton with his type and level advantages, so then we see the other side's Crobat. It sets up Confusion, but it's not enough to save it from consecutive Fire Blasts. So now, we see the Grass rival's Gengar, which falls right away to a lucky crit, so out comes Alakazam. Almost knocks out Typhlosion, before almost falling to Fire Blast. But then, out comes the Quick Attack. Left with no choice, the Meganium rival finally sends out his namesake. Unfortunately, Typhlosion does not capitalize on his type advantage here and ends up falling to Body Slam. Of course, the fire rival still got 4 Pokemon at full health, and once again we see the Sneasel. It ends up falling to Body Slam as well, so the fire rival sends out his Magneton. Both Pokemon now resist each other, so we get to see them chip away. Interesting moment with the AI here, where Meganium's Safeguard wears off, so Magneton tries to sneak in a Thunder Wave, only for Meganium to pop Safeguard once again. Anyway, in the end, Magneton gets in a good hit with Thunder, securing the win for the Typhlosion rival. Third match, Lance versus Misty. Gyarados takes out Golduck and Quagsire with consecutive Hyper Beams. Gyarados and Lapras get close to taking each other out, but with Lapras using Perish Song, both trainers end up switching out their Pokemon before the Perish count expires. Clever AI there. We get Misty's Starmie versus Lance's Dragonite, and Dragonite ends up falling to Ice Beam. Out comes Lance's second Dragonite, and we get the exact same sequence of moves with the exact same outcome. Gyarados returns, also falls immediately to Ice Beam, and hey, time for Lance's third Dragonite. This one though, being slightly higher level, is able to just barely survive Ice Beam for one turn at least. Lance sends out Aerodactyl, who finishes off Starmie with a Hyper Beam. Misty's Lapras almost finishes off Aerodactyl with Blizzard, but it just barely holds on, and finishes off Misty's team with a Rock Slide. Victory to Lance. Okay, last game of round 2, it's the Feraligatr rival against Bruno. Sneasel, ineffective as ever, falls to Hitmontop, but then Crobat avenges it. Confuses Onix, avoiding one Rock Slide, but not the second. Then we get the star of the show, Feraligatr. He finishes off Onix, tanks some Thunder Punches from Hitmonchan before finishing him off too, then finally falls to consecutive high jump kicks from Hitmonlee. But then, it's a case of mind over matter as the rival's Alakazam finishes off the rest of Bruno's Pokemon, earning him a spot in the semifinals. Speaking of semifinals, here they are! It's Blue versus the Typhlosion rival. Sneasel falls to Pidgeot. Pidgeot falls to Magneton. Magneton falls to Executor. Executor falls to Typhlosion. Typhlosion falls to Rhydon. And finally, Blue gets the advantage when Alakazam also falls to Rhydon. Gengar also falls to Rhydon, which leaves just Crobat. Finally, a Pokemon immune to Earthquake, but not so much to Rock Slide, and Blue gets the win. Lastly, it's Lance against the Feraligatr rival. Sneasel falls to Gyarados. Gyarados falls to Magneton. Magneton falls to Dragonite. Crobat does its best, but ultimately falls to Dragonite as well. Gengar finishes off Dragonite and puts a curse on second Dragonite, which ends up finishing it off. Third Dragonite takes out Gengar with Blizzard before falling to Alakazam. Alakazam just barely survives a Hyper Beam from Aerodactyl, but manages to finish it off as well. The rival tries to heal Alakazam with Recover, but it's not enough, and it falls to a Wing Attack from Lance's Charizard. Both trainers are on their last Pokemon now, but the rivals got both the type and level advantage, and sure enough, one good hit from Surf after a Rain Dance is all it takes to secure the victory for the Feraligatr rival. Which brings us at last to the final round, the winner-takes-all championship match that will determine definitively the strongest trainer in all of Pokémon Crystal. We have Blue, the leader of the Viridian City Gym, against the Indigo Plateau rival with Feraligatr. As we're used to seeing by now, the rival Sneasel falls almost immediately to Blue's Pidgeot. Unless you think this just be a repeat of the semifinals battle, this time, rather than fall to Magneton, Pidgeot blows it out of the battle with Whirlwind, dragging out Feraligatr in its place. Not that it helped much, as Pidgeot falls right away anyway. But now, Blue sends out his Executor and devastates Feraligatr with a Solar Beam. His star Pokemon down for the count, the rival sends out his Crobat, which is able to take out Executor. Alakazam takes out Crobat, and Magneton returns to the fray. Magneton deals heavy damage with Thunder, but ultimately falls to a well-placed Psychic. Gengar's up next, but oddly, rather than using Shadow Ball, he instead decides to simply die to another Psychic. Then, we get the Alakazam Ditto, a common sight in the last tournament. Blue's got the level advantage, but the rival has the health advantage. They both end up in the red, but the rival secures the kill. At last, it's Blue's Rhydon against the rival's Alakazam for all the marbles. The rival spams Recover, while Blue spams Fury Attack. Alakazam repeatedly dances precariously close to death, before finally Blue decides he's had enough and unleashes Earthquake, securing his victory with a decisive critical hit. And so, finally, after winning over 1,000 battles in the round-robin tournament and climbing through the ranks in our Sweet 16, we can crown the worthy champion in our little tournament. The undisputed, scientifically measured, strongest trainer in all of Pokémon Crystal is Leader Blue. Congratulations to Blue on such a hard-fought victory. Because, the idea behind this tournament, and all the ones that came before it, is that we take these trainers straight out of the game and have them fight on equal footing as any human competitor would. With Blue being crowned the champion of this tournament, I think it's fair to say he has earned himself a spot in the Hall of Fame, as so many human champions have done before. But if we're going to treat these AI competitors as if they were human trainers, then that's not really enough. Human trainers aren't satisfied with just entering the Hall of Fame. They strive for bigger things, new challenges, and stronger opponents. Opponents that are so strong, they haven't even been mentioned in this tournament yet, because no one ever beat them. Opponents with full teams of Pokemon that have DV totals higher than any other trainer in the game. An opponent, a true ultimate test of skill, standing side by side on the top of Mount Silver with his level 80 Pikachu. That's right. If Blue truly wants to be crowned the strongest trainer in Pokémon Crystal, he's going to have to defend his title against Pokémon Trainer Red. Trainers always open with the Pokémon that's coded first in their party, so that puts Blue at an immediate disadvantage with his Pidgeot against Red's Pikachu. Pikachu gets off a lucky Thunder, making quick work of Pidgeot, and making this battle a 5v6 right out of the gate. Not looking great for Blue. Fortunately, he is smart enough to switch in his Rhydon. Red goes for a quick attack, but unfortunately, he's not able to aim for the horn, and Blue takes out Red's star Pokemon with an Earthquake. Thing is, about the AI in Gen 2, even though Red has 2 full restores, he'll only ever use them on his highest leveled Pokemon, So with Pikachu out of the way, Blue's eliminated two of Red's biggest advantages in one blow. Red sends out Espeon. Being a Psychic type, he's one of Red's best offensive Pokémon. Rhydon predictably falls to Psychic, but Blue turns to Alakazam to wall that off. With his own Psychic type to tank the damage, he follows it up with Disable to cut off Red's options. Unfortunately, Espeon is able to finish off Alakazam with Swift. Blue sends in Gyarados and sets up Rain Dance, while Red puts up a Reflect. The two Pokemon trade blows, and Gyarados is able to out-damage the Espeon, taking it out. At this point, Red sends out his tankiest Pokemon, Snorlax. It takes out Gyarados, then Blue sends in Executor and sets up Leech Seed. Clever move, that. Just barely survives a Body Slam while he charges up Solar Beam. And he scores a crit to bring Snorlax down to the red. Finally falls to Body Slam, and Blue sends out Arcanine. Flamethrower just barely leaves Snorlax alive. And tragically, Snorlax does indeed no rest, undoing much of Blue's progress. At this point, the battle devolves into a bit of a stall fest. Snorlax repeatedly uses Snore, while Arcanine spams Flamethrower. Snorlax heals up with Rest, while Arcanine heals from Leech Seed. This goes back and forth until Arcanine finally runs out of PP on Flamethrower, forcing him to use Roar. This forces out Red's Venusaur, which looks good for Blue, except, oh no, he's already used up all his Flamethrowers. Little he can do here, except bop Venusaur with an extreme speed and Roar once again. This brings back out Snorlax, still fast asleep, for some reason not using Snore, but he does eventually wake back up to Wail on Arcanine with Body Slam. And that's the end of that. Seems like Blue really just didn't stand a chance against the impenetrable wall that is Pokemon Trainer Red. And we could say, well, there we go. Tournament's over, Red wins, the end. But I just keep coming back to that notion that we want to try to treat these trainers as if they were human players, battling against the AI themselves. And in that vein, if Red is meant to be Blue's true final boss, isn't it fair to say that Blue wouldn't give up after just one defeat? No. If Blue were indeed a human trainer, he would try again. And with my battle system, I can do just that. I can choose new random seeds for each battle, and let these two competitors duke it out again, and again, and again. And each battle will be slightly different. A move might crit, it might miss. The AI might select a different equally weighted move, or switch in a different Pokemon. Even the damage calculation formula involves a multiplication by a random percentage between 85 and 100. So, if somewhere in the possibility space of all potential battles, the stars align just right to give Blue a lucky chance, he could, theoretically, win. And so, I had these two fight dozens of times, hundreds of times, thousands of times, tens, even hundreds of thousands of times. All told, I had Gym Leader Blue fight Pokemon Trainer Red 637,788 times. And Blue lost every single battle. Then, finally, after all these struggles, all these trials and tribulations, and over 600,000 battles, I gave up. Red is just so ridiculously strong in Gen 2. To be honest, it kind of ruined my plans for the ending of this video. Like, obviously Red was going to win this tournament, no question. I think everyone knew that going in. But I thought I could at least have this fun twist ending where the otherwise champion Blue actually manages to beat Red by a twist of fate or some such. But no, he didn't even really come close. Full team of 6, average level 77, super strong Pokemon, super high DVs. Red is just absurd. A true final boss, indeed. And it's not just him. While Red didn't lose to anyone else in this tournament, looking at Blue's results, he never lost to anyone other than Red and himself. And likewise, Lance never lost to anyone other than Red, Blue, and himself in the round robin. Just goes to show how truly top-heavy the back end of Gen 2 is. Actually, this reflects a problem Tom 7 also encountered in his original Alo World video, where he was comparing chess engines, some of which never lost to those weaker than themselves. Because sure, the Alo scale can tell us that Red is stronger than Blue, but it loses the ability to tell us how much stronger he is if we never see him lose. Perhaps if I'd had more foresight, I could have included the Battle Tower trainers in this tournament. These trainers all have random parties, which makes them rather unsuitable for this sort of ranking of trainers tournament, but they also have Pokemon that get as high as level 100, which would have helped to shape the Alo rankings in these high tiers. Something to consider for next time. Anyway, just one more thing before we close out. We've been looking at these trainers in order of their ranking, but we can also plot them out in the order you fight them in the actual game, based on Bulbapedia's walkthrough of Pokémon Crystal. Obviously, Crystal opens up quite a bit in the back half, so this order is a bit arbitrary, which I think is reflected in the wide spread we see in the second half of this graph. Although, that being said, I always had this impression that the random trainers in Kanto were substantially weaker than their counterparts in Johto, but as we can see in this graph, aside from a few outliers, they're actually just about as strong as your typical endgame Johto trainers. It's just that they don't scale at all with the player's level. Likewise, we can see that the Kanto gym leaders are substantially stronger than all but the toughest Johto leaders, around the level of the Elite Four. As for Johto itself, it seems to follow a pretty typical power curve, with only a few outliers above the mean, and, at least in my impression compared to Gen 1, comparatively few trainers far below the mean. And that's all for now. Be sure to consider subscribing and following me on Twitter if you want to see what I work on next. As you've probably noticed, my production speed is glacial, so you might want to enable notifications so you don't miss anything. In the meantime, maybe you haven't seen my newest project, Pymantle? Check out that video for the deets. Also, if you do like this weird intersection of Pokemon, programming, and math, you'd probably like my most recent video about the calculator app in Brilliant Diamond. Also, big shout out to DJ Micah. I commissioned a ton of music from him for this video, and I think it all turned out great. You can see his info in the description, and I'll see you next time.